Dear friends, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And today I'm very excited, I'm very happy because I want to continue on things that I have been telling you about for many times, but particularly in some of the latest shows. We have been talking about nutrition. We have had shows on protein, on fats, on carbohydrates, on good eating, etc. And you can connect, you can get the link to any of those shows and review them. It is very important. I have said again and again that our health depends on our nutrition. If we don't eat well, we're going to be sick, period. We are having an epidemic of chronic degenerative diseases that are killing a lot of our people, and even sadder is that we're killing a lot of our young people. We're seeing more and more people with diabetes, more and more people with overweight and obesity. We're seeing more and more people with hypertension, and we're seeing a lot of people with strokes and heart attacks and so forth. We have made a show also explaining why this has happened. Where did we go wrong? How we started replacing good food, good protein, good fats for carbohydrates. And how we just went to ultra-refined cereals, ultra-refined sugar, ultra-refined carbohydrates in one word that have been costing us literally an arm and a leg. So we have to go back, we have to rewind, we have to see how we eat better. And we have talked about insulin, and we have talked about overweight, and in talking of all these problems, I stopped to think that you can probably hear it from any doctor. Because all doctors will tell you, you have to eat better, you have to gain to stop gaining weight, you have to start saying if you eat healthier, but nobody tells you why or how. And this is what I want to talk about. Okay, yes, doctor, I want to live healthier, I want to make changes in my life. Where do I start? How complicated it is? Well, first, if I would have it in my hand, I would do a complete blood work on you to make sure what is your chemical value in every aspect of protein, of kidney function, liver function, insulin levels. Now you can measure insulin in the blood, sugar, of course. I would do all those things. But you say, I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to start there. I want to just go ahead and make a change. And I commend you for that. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to start making the changes today that will save your life. And certainly will save a lot of money and time and suffering, because the diseases that you're going to be facing, if you continue on the route you're going, are not going to be good. So let's make a shift. Not just little things. Just make a real shift. Let's start doing something that's going to be a lot healthier for us, and let's start where we have to start. And I'm going to begin with a very obvious. It should be very obvious, very logical situation. It is so obvious, so natural, so logic that we don't even think about it. We don't think about that as a problem. I have said many times that every time you put something in your mouth, you have to think of why, what for, why am I eating? So the first problem we have is we have to learn to eat when we need to eat. How do I know I need to eat? When I am hungry. If you're not really hungry, don't eat. It's that simple. But for us today, eating is just a social activity. We eat every so often because we have to do this or that. We eat a lot at night because that's socially the way to get together and to learn about our friends. So we have turned food into a habit more than a physiological need, and much less as nourishment to our body. So let's learn to eat when we are really hungry. And I'm going to quote Ivana Trump, the first wife of Donald Trump, who once said, she said, if when you wake up, you're not really hungry, it's because you ate too much last night. If by lunchtime, you're not really hungry, you had a huge breakfast. If by dinner time, you don't want to eat, it's because you ate too much at lunch. And the other reason of all those failures is because you're nibbling, snacking, and eating between meals. Couldn't be simpler than that. You can gauge how much food you need if by the time of your next meal, you're genuinely hungry. You say, oh, it's lunchtime, good, because I'm hungry. Not because, oh, come on, it's 12, let's go for lunch. That's social. You have to say, let's go for lunch because I'm hungry. Because I had a healthy, smart breakfast, I'm hungry at lunch. And again, because I did the same thing with lunch, I'm going to be hungry at dinner time. And if I'm frugal, and I'm conservative, and if I eat early, remember, where is the 5 o'clock dinner? It's gone, long time ago. So you have to do that. You have to learn to eat enough to carry you to the following meal, not to carry you for the following 3 days. You just need the amount of food that you need to carry you from one part or the other. So if you do that, you're going to start helping yourself a lot. And in saying that, I'm going to go back to Ivana Trump. If you're nibbling and snacking between meals, of course you're not going to be hungry for the next meal. But it's a lot worse than that. You're going to be creating insulin spikes all the time. Even if you have a diet, even if you have a non-caloric food, you create an insulin spike. And that insulin spike is what's going to put fat in your belly. That's what's going to put fat in your liver. So a fatty liver, a fatty you, is because you're eating too many times a day. Up to 1960, and I'm talking about statistics, I'm talking about hard numbers. I'm not talking about it used to be once upon a time. That's not the question. Used to be, if you look at the numbers, that up to 1960s, the typical American had 3 meals a day. Got that? They had breakfast, went to work, had a small lunch, then went home and had an early dinner. So the fasting time between dinner and the next breakfast would easily be more than 12 hours. And they didn't have to eat. And there's something very important to know. Nature, of course, knows that you're not going to be eating at night. So you do not have to provide for a long night. This is not a long-haul, red-eye flight where they're going to feed you in the middle of the flight because it's a very long flight and they have to feed you. No, when you go to bed at night, your body is already taking care of the caloric needs, of the energy needs of your body throughout the night. We have hormones inside our body that are going to start working throughout the night and will provide the energy that the body needs. If we eat too much at night, if we eat too late at night, if we eat and snack during the night, what's going to happen is that we're going to put that food on top of the food that our hormonal system is already putting out. So you're doubling the calories your body has to deal with at night. If it sounds complicated, if you don't get it all, please call me, please send me a mail. I'm in the social media of your choice. Contact me, ask me. I love to talk about this, and I love to tell you how. So don't hesitate, we have to be in touch. But suffice to tell you that what we have to do from today is have 3 meals a day. We have to have early dinner, and we have to be hungry at every time, and skip every time any temptation that we have for a snack or anything like that. That's not for human consumption, period. So don't fool yourself that you're having a natural bar, something that's organic. It doesn't count. We do not need snacks to survive. We were not created to nibble or to graze. Cows graze. We don't. So you need 3 meals a day, be hungry at every meal, and do not eat late at night, and do not eat during the night. Those rules are very simple. Those rules will cost you absolutely nothing. Now, before I started the show, I was having a conversation with a couple of friends, and they said, "Doctor, but when I started doing that, I feel like something." Yes, you're going to feel like you're missing something in your life. This is like when you quit smoking. This is when you quit drugs, or this is when you drop something of a routine. Yes, you're going to have this craving, this need, that's triggered because of those insulin spikes that I'm talking about. When you stop doing that, insulin spikes are pre-programmed many times, and you're going to have that feeling. Give it some time. Have a glass of water, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, no sugar, of course, and the thing will pass on. Couple of weeks, you're going to be in the road to a lot healthier you. Don't go anywhere. We have to keep on talking about this. We're talking today about how to change, how to shift. We're talking about a shift to a healthier nutritional condition that's going to take us to a healthier life. What else can we ask for? We all want to live a long life. We want all to have a successful life. We want to have a financially secure life. Well, let's start with the last one, a financially secure life. You start making a financial planning. 401k with your company, a saving account, some investments, your home, your real estate, all those possibilities. Money for a rainy day. You're planning for the future. Because you know that one day you're going to retire, and you don't want to be begging. You want to keep on living the type of lifestyle you have had all your life. You want your home, your trips, your family, your parties, etc. And for that, you had to plan. And that's what we're talking about. We want a long life, but healthy. Because when asked, people will always tell you, would you like to live a long life? Everybody says, yes, if. And that big if is if I'm going to be healthy enough and functional and self-able to do whatever I want. So That's the important thing, and that is what you're going to get with nutrition. I have more than 50 years as a doctor. Believe me, I have seen everything you can think of. Why? Because I had been a doctor in a big medical center. I have been a doctor in Canada. I have been a doctor in the United States. I have been in Europe. I have been in Asia. And I've seen it all. I have also worked in small rural towns and did it all, been there, seen that. So no question that I have seen a lot of things. And the common denominator, that's why I have this passion for food, is people that eat well are healthy, are strong, live long. People that eat poorly are going to get sick. And this is becoming dramatically in front of my eyes, because I have seen through these years how people that in my mind should be healthier are not. Our younger generation, we're seeing more and more people with chronic degenerative diseases very early in life. Diabetes is rampant. And you don't have to be 70, 80 years old, as used to be for diabetes when I was in medical school. Now you are 40, 50, 60. And every year of diabetes is going to cost you a lot of money, it's going to cost you a lot of suffering, it's going to cost you a lot of everything. So you do not want to be diabetic. And unfortunately, all these problems, the early warning symptom is overweight and obesity. Why? Because it tells a story. I'm not talking about looks. I'm not talking about cosmetics. I'm talking about a story. When I start gaining weight in an unnatural way, because there are ages in your life where you naturally will gain weight because of hormonal conditions. But if you get weight that you shouldn't get, particularly in your tummy, in your waistline, that is telling you a story that you're not eating well, that you're not doing things right. And that's what we have to change. That's what we have to really make a dramatic shift from wrong to right. And we already talked about some eating habits that we have to polish, that we have to improve, and so on. Let's talk a little bit about foods. Well, the first thing, the first rule of thumb is get yourself some time. Give the problem a little bit of thinking. In other words, you have to sit down first with yourself, later with your family, and talk about it. Am I doing things right? What am I doing wrong? How can I right the wrongs so I can be healthier and live better and longer? So you have to take the time. You have to look around, because if you take the time, you look around, if you think about it, you will start making healthy choices. And we have to go for healthier choices. The more you do, the better off you're going to be. Right now, for example, I can tell you something encouraging news is that the statistics that are coming out about people that eat mainly organic show already that they're having a healthier life. That is good. So what am I going to do? The first thing we have to do is get away with added sugar. Sugar is a poison. Sugar is bad for you. Let me tell you one big problem with sugar. Sugar is actually stripped from all its nutritional value. Sugar in nature contains a lot of minerals, contains some fiber, contains things like that, contains vitamins. All that's gone because we want the white, pure sugar. And to make it white pure, you have to make away with everything that's healthy or nutritional in sugar. So you take it all out. So you have it really white sugar. And then what you do, you grind it. You say, well, does that change the food? Yes, it does. Make no mistake. Every time you grind and grind and grind something, the finer the powder, the fastest its absorption. And if you absorb sugar immediately, you take 100 calories, they're going to take 10 seconds to be in your bloodstream. And that's going to produce a huge insulin spike. And once again, we have a show about this. Insulin is what makes us sick. Those insulin spikes. If you were to have molasses, for example, it's going to go a lot slower because molasses contain some fiber, contain a lot of minerals, chromium among one of the most important ones, and contain vitamins. That'd be better. Now, if you have honey, you're going to be a lot better off because there you really have a natural food, or what's called natural. Because remember, not all natural foods are created equal according to the box. If you read the label, sugar is natural. Of course, it comes from nature. But there are so many things done to the sugar that it's already almost a poisonous food. So make a way. Take it out of your life. Added sugar should not exist. Naturally sweet things like an orange or an apple or fruits and certain things that we eat that are natural sweet, they're okay because they have very, very minimal amounts of sweeteners that are very in tune with the metabolic activity of our body. Sugar is not. So we have to make away from that. And say that, we have to talk about processed foods. Remember that processing food was some things in mind. One of them is shelf life. I want to get this crop, I want to turn it into something that I'm going to be able to sell it to you through the year. We used to eat seasonally, which is very healthy. But no, not right now, we don't want to eat seasonally. We want to eat what we want. So in order to have mangoes in Alaska in January, you have to process them. And processing is a problem because it involves that shelf life that will only be accomplished by using important conservative substances. Those conservatives, two of them are at the top. One is sugar, and the other one is salt. The white, pure evils in our food. Sugar and salt. So if you want to buy whatever you want any time of the year, you have no choice. You're going to eat your food with a lot of sugar, with a lot of salt, and other added chemicals. Plus coloring, plus flavoring, plus God knows what sort of chemicals. But processed foods do not belong in a normal human diet. They might be perfect if you're going to be living in the space station, or if you want to settle in the moon. But for us, for America, that produces lots of food seasonally, for America that every Sunday has a farmer's market somewhere, very close to us, where we can go and buy local food, fresh food, that's at its prime of nutrition, of vitamins, of everything. That's what you want to eat. So don't do all these ultra-refined, processed, chemically polluted type of food, if it's in a can, if it's in a foil, if it's in a box, if it has a nutritional label, be aware. That's not food. You're buying an industrial product. So don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. And last, but very important, is vegetable oils. Vegetable oils are not really natural. They're not really in nature. And if you press an olive, there's oil. If you press a peanut, there's oil. But if you press corn, there's no oil in it, so it is extracted chemically. Furthermore, vegetable oils are rich in omega-6s, are pro-inflammatory, which is what you want to avoid, and are not going to be good for you. Let's talk a little bit about fats. But let's go to the next segment, because they're very important and very healing. You are with Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And in this show, I have been very excited talking about what you can do, what you can start doing right now without spending one penny, without going to the doctor, without going to the laboratory, anything like that. You actually can start doing it immediately. Even if you're watching this program, you can still start doing things, like having a glass of clean spring water, or having a cup of tea, or anything like that. So, no sugar added, remember. So you can start making healthy choices, healthy changes, to make that shift to a healthier pathway. And it's right now, we have talked about things that cost nothing, and the most important thing, I think, I'm trying to tell you how. Not only to tell you that you have to change, but how you can do to change. So, we have to invest time. We have to really think about it. If we don't make the changes, nothing is going to happen. You know the saying, if you don't change anything, well, things will continue to go as they have always gone. But if we can shift and make the changes and be a little bit disruptive, well, a lot of things will happen, and in this case, a lot of good things are going to happen for you, for your family, for your loved ones. So, begin to review everything. We have talked about planning meals, planning times. Actually make a schedule. Say, this is the way I'm going to eat. I have to work from this time, I have to get ready by this time in order to get to work. I'm going to be back from home when I do this. So there are many things that I can be doing to make all this good planning. I have to remember that before I go to bed, I will put a little bit of barley on water so I can cook it fast in the morning with a little bit of butter and honey and some banana and mix it, and that's going to be my breakfast instead of a box chemically polluted cereal. The barley is rich in fiber, and it's very, very good. If you do it, you can go to a website and review some of the recipes that we have. But barley is a big one, something that I would advise everybody to have for a very nice breakfast. Or cut steel oats, or old-fashioned oatmeal. Don't go for instant, because that again comes in a foil. It's a processed food. Don't eat that. You need the old-fashioned oatmeal. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of good things to that. So, when you start reviewing all this, go to the market, go to the farmer's market. You know, today I was looking at something about peaches. Because in the summertime, peaches are very abundant. And they are very healthy. And I learned that we have about more than 20 peach varieties, including nectarine. Nectarine is a variety of peach. I thought it was a hybrid, but it is not. It is a different variety of peach. But we don't know them because we go to the supermarket, and the supermarket gets whatever is easier and has longer shelf life and will always give you the same thing. So go out of the box. Go to a farmer's market and see what's produced. I'm sure in many areas of America today, if you go this Sunday, you're going to find very good peaches. So we have to start reviewing that. But if we don't put any effort, if we don't become very proactive, if we don't take food as serious as we take care of our finances, well, we're going to have money to pay doctors, laboratory, and hospitals. And you don't want to do that. You want your money for a cruise ship, you want for a nice vacation, for a huge celebration. That's what you want your money for. Not for doctors, believe me. Don't bring your money to a hospital. Take it to where you're going to have a lot of fun and it's going to reward your life. And that can only happen if you start investing more time and a little bit of money. It's going to be very little. So far, what I have told you costs nothing. And you can say, okay, this is going to change my life. You know few words: organic, free range, whole. Go for that type of thing. Grass-fed is another of the key words. What am I talking about? I'm talking about real food. Real food is organic. Real food is free range. Real food is whole. Real food is grass-fed. And furthermore, real food is free of chemicals, free of hormones, free of antibiotics, and that type of thing. So we have to start looking for that food. You know why? Because it's good for us. And yes, it might be a little bit more expensive today. But if we start patronizing that type of food production, the whole system is going to change because they want our money. There are fast food chains that are changing to free-range eggs. Why? Because people are beginning to demand it. We have the authority. We have the spending dollars. So we have to take them to where they're going to benefit our health. We have to increase, and I said it, and you heard it right. We have to increase our fat consumption because we have been fooled to believe that low fat is good for you. And the way you get low fat is only two ways. One, by getting chemically altered foods like low-fat milk. Cows have whole milk. That's what the cow delivers. How can you get a low-fat milk? Well, by getting it through an industrial process. By the way, they're going to sell you that fat in a different route, like cream, like yogurt, like butter, like anything else. They're going to sell the milk twice, the fat and the milk. But we have to increase our natural fat consumption. How? Well, for one, we can go to grass-fed whole milk, particularly for children. Some of the fats of the whole milk can fight against diabetes. So if we have children, we have to give them whole milk. For goodness sake, don't give your children low-fat milk. You have to get real butter. So make sure you take the time to go through the market and check every single butter. And you have to make sure you get real butter. If need be, you go to Wisconsin and ask which is a real good butter and a good dairy product in general. Because we need that in our diet. It used to be a staple food for generations in America. We stopped doing it just at the beginning of the whole health epidemic that we have today. Make your life rich in oleic acid. Oleic acid is the base of the Mediterranean diet, touted as the best possible diet humans can have. What's oleic acid? Olives, olive oil, lard, and avocados. When you think of all of them, you say, oh yes, they're healthy. You might have some ideas about pork, but I can tell you that pork fat is, in general, as good as fish fat. So, rich in omega-3s, rich in oleic acid, rich in good things. But if you don't want to have it, it's fine. But you have olive oil as a fantastic choice, olives themselves as a great food, full of fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, you name it, and avocados. You don't have to wait for 4th of July. You can have them. This is a fruit that can travel well, that can mature well, that will not be rotten or damaged, and that you cannot taint, you cannot touch it. You cannot put a chemical or a color or anything like that. It's as natural as it can be and as good as anything can be. But bring more fat to your life, because fat is part of our body. Our bodies are made of fat. So if we don't eat fat, we're going to have health problems. There's a cover on Time magazine that I found once that says, "More butter, please." And when I read it, I understood why. He was talking about the need to increase good fat in the American diet. So, yes, butter is good for you. Remember, no sugar, no refined carbohydrates. Whole things are very good. And if we start learning all these simple rules, you're going to be a lot better. And another very good piece of advice: go to the kitchen. Don't be afraid. Nothing is going to happen. Go to the kitchen, open the pantry, open the fridge, see what's in there, see what you'd like to eat. Just as when you go to a restaurant, you open the menu and you say, well, these fish and meats and poultry, etc. Do the same thing at home. Review what you have, what you'd like to have, and start learning about it. The resources are unlimited. If you go to YouTube, if you go to any social media, you're going to have unlimited sources of good ideas of how to prepare your food. But go to the kitchen. We have to do it. And we still have more things to tell you. So don't get away from your program. You are with Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And I really have had a lot of fun and excitement in talking with you about shifting to a healthier path. How we can change your lives. Well, you're talking to a doctor that has been around for more than 50 years as a doctor. I mean, in the 1960s, I was already working in a hospital. and looking at patients. And then I had some rural medicine experience, and I went to large medical centers in several parts of the world, and I saw a lot of the things that were happening. And there was a time where I was very proud of my medical upbringing. Those were the times, the 60s and 70s, when we thought that after antibiotic success, we're going to be able to develop a drug for every single problem. I mean, what problem you have? This one. This is your prescription. Go to the pharmacy. You're going to be fine. What is your problem? This one. Okay, another prescription. And then we grew the habit that going to the doctor meant to get a prescription, not an advice. I mean, if you went to the doctor and the doctor gives you an advice, you wonder, why did I pay him for? I didn't even get a prescription. And that has been, in a big part, the origin of our problems. Because that means that the doctor, with his infinite knowledge of everything, will always have something that the pharmaceutical industry already thought of to solve the problem that I have. What do I have to do? I have to sit down, tell you my problem, you give me a prescription that's going to heal me. Well, unfortunately, time has shown that we're absolutely wrong. That there is a lot of responsibility in healing and in staying healthy in ourselves. But I have to confess that we have been lied to. And, you know, I have to confess that we, the doctors, having a big part of that lie. Because we believed, without any scientific evidence, that what they told us in the US Congress was correct. Facts, that we had to eat more grains, and that we would be okay. And it didn't happen. We grew sicker every decade, to the point that right now we have almost half the population with overweight or obesity, almost the same amount of people that are or are going to be shortly diabetic, a huge number of people with high blood pressure, the silent killer, a lot of people with kidney disease, with fatty liver, which is probably the most common degenerative disorder today, and derived from that, heart attacks and strokes and all sorts of problems. And all of them are precisely produced by those lies that were told to the medical establishment and we told to people, and that we have been living with. We made changes of food that had been absolutely good for us for generations and generations and generations. And by the end of the 1960s, everything started to change. And we went to processed food, to color food, to flavor food, to box food, to canned food, to fast food, to all those things. And this is like opening a gas station in your town that's going to deliver very poor quality fuel, very poor quality oil, very poor quality service. You know, in no time, half the town's cars are not going to work. They're going to be broken, or they perform very poorly. That's what we have seen. Now, I don't see too much help from the official sources at the time. But I have seen a huge movement that has grown over the last couple of decades, claiming for true food, for real food, for eating again food for human nutrition. And we have seen words like organic, like wholesome, like free range, like hormone-free, like grass-fed, etc. type of food, which is what food was in the first place. Now we have to look for it. Now we have to pay more for it. Now we have to go to specialty shops to buy an egg that was laid by a hen that lives free and happy and with a rooster and everything. So, why does that happen? Why do we let it happen? Well, what we have to do first and foremost is start changing our ways. I don't know about the United States of America, but I can make these changes myself because there are many people that think alike. There are many, many people that work in the same field that help me. I can go and look for organically grown chicken that are processed right, air frozen or air cooled before they get to my table, instead of using a brine that will contaminate and create a lot of sodium inside my poultry. Now I can get good foods. If I take my money to those foods, to get those foods are going to become more available. We're going to get more variety, and we're going to get more people involved in good food production, and they're going to become cheaper. All we have to do is we have to go for that type of food. I'm going to tell you a few things that work, that really work. The first and the most important part should be fiber. Everybody tells you, well, if you want to lose weight, if you want to be good, if you blah, 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 fiber. It is 100% true. If we eat more fiber, we're going to be a lot healthier. And what you have to do is learn about it. Go to the web, go to the site of your choice, and review what fiber can do for you. And where is fiber? But fiber is mainly in wholesome, unprocessed foods. That's why we're sick, because we're eating ultra-refined foods. But we have wholesome foods, fiber is going to take care of itself. It has a filling effect, we feel fuller. The stomach empties slower the more fiber the food has, which means the amount of calories that enter your blood are going to be step by step. So the big insulin spikes do not exist. So you're going to feel better and fuller for more hours after your meal. And because the fiber, a lot of it is going to go out, it is going to take a lot of the caloric value. So we're actually eating less calories when we eat a fiber-rich food. And on top of that, fiber is the food for our intestinal bacteria. And our intestinal bacteria are going to come back to produce a lot of good things, some vitamins, some immune effects, some good hormones. So it's a win-win-win-win situation. So bring fiber to your table. And the other ones are chew your food. There's a researcher in the 1800s that couldn't lose weight no matter what. And he decided he was going to chew his food 100 times every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. Swallow. Then the next. You know, he lost 30 pounds. Why is that? Because the more we chew, the more, the slower the food is going to be absorbed. The more we chew, the more filling we get. We're going to feel faster. I don't know if you have noticed, but a lot of people that are thin eat slowly. So you don't have to chew 100 times, but good 20 times would be very smart. And if you have a weight problem, the more you chew, the more pounds you're going to lose. Another one that works is vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. You can have like 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar every day, particularly with a big meal, and it helps. Some meals that are rich in calories have vinegar, like sushi, like fish and chips. Some foods are naturally added vinegar, and it will help you to reduce the amount of calories that you eat. Anyway, the important thing here is this. If you listen to this message, I hope you get the curiosity, you have the idea of I can help my life to be a lot better. I think I can shift my life to a healthier me. I can lose weight and keep it off. I can feel stronger and I have a better mood. I can be a lot more alert and amusing to all my friends. That is possible. If you just get that idea, we're beginning well. You go to the web, just go to your phone and look at all the resources. There are countless resources that you can read. But the most important thing, you have now a good friend. And I am your good friend. I want you to send me a note. I want you to ask a question. I want to make sure you understand everything. What you didn't understand, what you disagree, what you want to review, call me, write me, send me a note. You have a friend, 100%, no strings attached. There is no cost. Just be my friend. Follow me, and I make sure your life gets a lot better.